Oops, I forgot my safety gear. Remember, safety first. Fun.
So I got some of these from my friend Lionel, who hooked me up, and they have like a bit of a taper, so they're supposed to be a little bit easier to get in there. So I'm just gonna pick the low end of the spec and obviously the high end of the spec, just to see if I didn't go in. So again, the lower end spec, because as it wears, the valves actually will come upwards into the cylinder and actually close off the gap, which is, you don't want to have to adjust them too many times. If you do, a chance that the valve face is actually getting smaller and they can break off. So I'm just gonna measure them out. Hopefully they're pretty close. And as part of the oil change, I got to find out that there's been some butchery that has gone on. I don't know if you can see that in there, but it's like there's the Healy coil, but it's like sticking out the side and someone's ground down the case to the max. Like it's not good. Well, it's kind of good to see. I got some more stuff here. Not bad. Some frame protector things and my O-ring for the fuel filter and my fuel line hose. So kind of nice. Some more moto treats, right? So looking forward to finish that. I still got to figure out what I'm going to do here. I don't know. That oil thing is kind of bugging me, but I'm going to come up with a solution. Maybe I'll have to send it away to a machine shop, or maybe I'll just sort of figure a way I can do it. I don't know. I'm undecided, right? You'll play with the kids for a while. Well, my thoughts are I can probably just seal up this hole, because look, I mean, they're both connected to each other. Like, pretty sure you get the same amount of oil out of it regardless, so just have to figure out what to do with the edge of this, right? Like, man, those guys suck. All right. So my question is, will that just compress now and stay out of the sealing area? And maybe I can get it to actually seal now. It's hard to say. I mean, that's, at least that's going to be compressible into there. I guess I don't know how I could actually pull it all the way out. I could try pulling it out and then re-threading it in with a shorter one. Maybe I should try that. Yeah, way too loose. The fact I can do this as easy as I am. So I think that's what's happening is you're doing an oil change and then the thing's unraveling out. So I have to check for how concentric this is, but I'm kind of thankful this is easy to pull out. Because sometimes these can be a major problem. So this might actually be an improvement to the situation by being able to put a new one in. Do the red Loctite, wipe it out. Maybe not red Loctite. I have some stuff that I use for like bearing housing surfaces, and it like helps retain it. A bearing retaining compound. Might use something like that. It's like it's missing a chunk, sort of like right in that corner there. It's like it'll never seal. Definitely some metal stuck in there, but less sitting in the back of it. So I'm gonna work on getting that stuff out now. Too bad they didn't make an aluminum or magnesium magnet.
Upset is maddening.
So I should be able to see the high portions based on the rubbing, I think. My hope is with the threads inset, that will actually seal. I'm not gonna have an issue. So I got the bike laid down on the operating table again. I got one of the clutch weight pieces, so hopefully this can help it from not stalling as much. I think that my tinkering time to riding time is definitely in favor of tinkering. So see how this goes, we'll get into it. So I finished doing the clutch, took it for a little ride, and lo and behold, I found more stuff. So it's the bike that keeps on giving, and to show you what I'm talking about here. You can see it's a little wet. So you can see it inside there. So every time you push it out, it's like actually pushing oil, sorry, not oil, brake fluid out. It's like all down here as well. So this side looks a little wet too, but it's not like, it's not spurting out. You can kind of see there's like some residual where it's actually leaked. I don't know if you can see the staining, but it looks like brake fluid's actually come off there, and then I've washed it. So this one, it's enough it actually left a puddle on the floor where I had the bike sitting. So we have to take this off. Line, separate off here, undo the reservoir. Well, I think it's obvious why it would be leaking. It's like a gray powder in here. It's unbelievable how much crap is inside of this. Yeah, I mean, the bore has some scratches in it for sure, but I don't know. So it's a new day. I ended up just soaking this in some caustics type solution very briefly. So I kind of get it. Now, I tried to get some camera angles on it. I couldn't do it. Now it's like inside the actual bore here though, which I could not get a film camera to like get. It's like Freddy Cougar is trying to escape out the bottom. So it's like all the bits of debris that were inside of here, they're gonna make their way through the holes, and it's like there's little pieces of metal that actually made their way to the bottom of it, the bore. So it's like it is scratched up. It's enough on the seal, like you barely see it. Again, I'm filming on an iPhone. iPhone's amazing, but with the lighting, I can't quite catch it up. So on here, it's like you can see small little scratches on the edge of it. So you see the scratches just on the side, right? So the bore's definitely been damaged in it. Now the question is, can I get it to seal? I think I will be able to. I don't want to take a lot of material off on it, because if I do that, then the little sleeve piece that goes in there for the cylinder piece is going to get a little sloppy on me, and I'm going to likely have worse problems. So I'm going to find myself some 1200 or 1000 grit sandpaper, wet it up, and my plan is to wrap it around that plastic piece and see if I can have enough that can kind of just go in between it and just sort of do an in and out and rotate at the same time, and hopefully take any burrs or any edges off on it, and hopefully the new master cylinder rebuild kit is enough to seal good. I mean, how many people have a dirt bike and do a 2-year maintenance or a 3-year maintenance by replacing your brake fluid and flushing it? I mean, probably not a lot of people. I'm sure I'm like one of the few people that takes maintenance seriously, that's like just an occasional hobbyist rider, because most of my thing, I spend more time probably working on my bikes than I actually do riding them. And that's probably because I just don't ride enough. But I love working on stuff, right? So it's like, I don't mind doing that. I probably should start a business taking care of people's bikes. I'd probably love that. Yeah. Ooh, this might actually show it the way the light is. I'm going to show you here what I'm seeing right now. Yeah. Actually can see it through the light reflection. So, like, right? That looks horrible. Now, if you flip it around, right? It doesn't have those deep grooves. I mean, it doesn't look pretty, but it's not terrible. So hopefully I can take that stuff out and make it look just a little bit better in there, and hopefully I can get the seal. I mean, if not, I mean, I'm looking at a new item here. And finding out the Brimbos are a lot cheaper than the new stuff. I mean, oh my gosh, Buddy during his race last weekend, he destroyed his lever. And I mean, just this part here, it's going to set him back like just about like 500 and a half, right? Like this is going to be less than 300 if it's a Brembo. So I don't know. I like the Brembo brand. I assume Brembo's just better, but that's just probably my bias of being in the automotive world and working with a lot of Brembo products. They're always really good. So I don't know much about the new one other than my buddy was in a race and it broke on him. So I mean, who knows? So I'm using some sandpaper out here. Show you what I'm doing here. But it looks a lot better than it was before. Yeah, I always find you gotta scrub stuff like this pretty good. I've already actually washed this off with just some like contact cleaner, like brake clean, but I mean, you're not gonna get the same amount of stuff out as once you actually start putting some oil on it. Well, brake fluid. I'm not gonna put oil in here. So you use some alcohol next to wash out the brake fluid.
See if people think, you wouldn't believe, right? It's like, okay, well, no, like it would be to me actually at the, you know, when you look at your forks and you have like the spring and then.
Yeah, I know a lot of people say it's insane, right? Just do the syringe method, but I've always had good luck, like basically priming it this way. So look at all the air bubbles I'm getting out. Again, I'm not creating any air bubbles because it's actually sealed on both sides. So I have the cup seal partially in, and I'm just trying to get all the air bubbles out of it, kind of where the spring sits. There'll be air on this side of it too, so the goal is now to get the air out of that portion before I even try to bleed the whole system. Again, because I've had really bad luck in the past where you get air somehow in the connection. Like why it should even be there, I don't know, but I've had issues in that in the past, so this is how I just automatically do it now. Like this is what I do. Right or wrong, this is how I do it. So I usually open the connection, give it a few pumps, and I kind of start pumping it up. So I know that it's actually shouldn't have any air in there then. So again, the cup seals aren't actually sealing perfectly against where you push the clutch in, because it's still sticking out quite a bit, which is okay because that's what I want to do here. So now, basically push it in and then crack it loose, and we should have some fluid that starts coming out, which there is, which is great. Then I let it back out, and I can feel the difference in it already. Like there's less and less air, right? Yeah, there we go. One more little air bubble came out. It's like, how do we know it's not just draining? It's like, well, because I can actually see the fluid balling up on it. So now I'm gonna have to push this in and then add my clip to it. So hopefully I don't slip and got any problems. Key is to make sure that you don't have anything on your wrenches sticking out, right? Otherwise you'll never get seated far enough in. So I know this is usually people do this on the bench, but again, I want to have the free piston so be able to get most of the air out, because otherwise I'm going to struggle to bleed it later, and I don't want to have to go through that. Yeah, it is. Perfect. Okay, so this guy in there. So I haven't put the seal back together because, again, just in case I gotta take it apart, maybe there's something not quite right. Just kind of making sure I can. And I can actually pull in the clutch with this, and there's tension in there. It's not just the spring. I can feel that it's actually pushing the hydraulic fluid in, and there's some tension on it. So again, the line here, I cracked this loose, and you can see the fluids right at the top, but this way I was able to bleed it without actually having to take it all apart. Again, not everyone's going to agree with this, but this is a heck of a lot easier than fighting with the syringe method, I think. So now my plan is to basically pump the fluid down and bleed the rest of the system, so I make sure there's no air that's actually caught up in there and the old fluid's out. So this is all sealed now. I made sure the seal wasn't folded under or anything silly like that.